Hello， 大家好，我是健夫小柯。那我们已经进行了前3个视频的一个训练。那在我们今天第4个视频呢，我们要给大家去说一下，应该如何去把这些核心的动作融合到你的重训里面去。因为像我们这个核心训练啊，你可能会以为在训练之前我做几个就够了，其实不是这样的。那我们今天呢，就主要说一下如何把我们之前这些训练很好的去融合到你平时的重训里面去。让举报给大家解说一下。
My turn.
Yes.
All right. So we've gone through. We've given you 5 exercises. We've given you intermediate, beginner, and advanced. We've shown you the modifications to make this a little bit tough, to kind of give you the progression so you have a starting point, and you can build up that starting point and get better and better and better. And now we've come to the point where you say, hey, I'm not sure if I want to use this and integrate this into my workout. How do I add it in? How do I take the core exercises that you've shown and throw them into my workout and make it effective? Well, one of the major things that you have to understand is when doing these core exercises that there are certain principles that apply to every element of lifting and moving. And that's going to be abdominal wall bracing, proper breathing, and making sure that we're applying that across the board. So a lot of these exercises can be used to transition to any weightlifting exercise. It's just making sure that you transition it properly to get the most out of it. If you strengthen your core, it's 100% going to help you. But if you want to take that core exercise and make it a little bit more intense, a little bit more effective for a specific movement, we're going to give you some examples on how you can do that. A lot of the time, you're going to need to do a tricep. What that means is you'll do a core exercise, then you'll do another exercise in between or before your main movement. The reason that we do this is to make sure that directly from the core exercise, you have some type of transition that's going to link you better to the specific exercise that you have in mind. Some things you'll be able to do without having that transitional movement, but for the most part, most exercises should be done in a tricep if you really want to tie that core in. So we'll start off with the dead bug, and from the dead bug, we're going to work our way into the bench press. So we'll integrate the beginner version. You guys have already seen all the other versions, so we don't need to go through all of them. What we need to do is just show you how we will transition this. Now from the bench press, the great thing is we don't actually need to do the middle workout in between. We can jump right into it and make a modification on the bench press directly from our dead bug. So what he's going to do, Kate Hahn's just going to do 2 extensions, and then we're going to jump up and get right to the bench press. So just for those who may have forgotten, you don't remember the dead bug, go ahead and go out, squeeze and bring it back. Good. And one more. Good. And bring it back. Very good. Go to hop up for me, Kayhan. Now we're going to transition. Our next transition is into the bench press. So Kayhan is going to go ahead and set up. Now, we just worked our core. The whole purpose of the dead bug was to make sure we keep our ribs down and everything's tight. So what I'm going to have Kayhan do is he's going to first go ahead and pick that bar up for me. Get it right above. Good. Now that he has the bar up, I want you to squeeze the lower back into the mat and lift your feet off the ground for me. Feet up, off the ground, up here. There we go. So from this position, push the small of your back in. Now we're able to take that movement and we're gonna just add that into our bench press to make sure that we're getting the abdominal wall tension. So Kayhan's just gonna quickly go through about 4 to 5 reps. Go ahead and go down to the chest and press straight up. Good. Small of the back is into the mat. 3 more. 3. Good. Core's tight. 2. Core's tight. And 1. Good. And go ahead and bring that back. Very good. So that's a quick integration that you can use from the dead bug directly to a chest press. It's going to make it a little bit harder. You're going to have to worry about the balance, but you're still going to get that high level activation on the chest while tying in your core, your abdominal wall, and it's a very easy integration to do. It should be noted that when you're doing these types of integrations, especially for the bench press, if you're going to use that one, you're going to transition it there, lower the weight because you're not sure how your body's going to respond. and is unfamiliar with this. It's a new way of moving, and most people haven't bench pressed with their feet in the air. And so it is going to tax the core more, but there's going to be that instability. And that instability, we want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe. So start lighter than what you're used to lifting, and make sure you have a spotter. Get someone to stand there, stay with you to help you control. They don't have to actually help you with the movement, but they need to be there for your safety to keep it to where you're not getting injured. You're able to take that new dynamic into the workout, but it's in a safe environment. Another good thing about this is if you have any lower back pain, you've had any injuries, this is really going to help because it's going to help you flatten your back out. You're not going to get that strain from pushing yourself up. When you push yourself up, that's called being lordotic or lordosis. Lordosis, or what they would term as being lordotic, is with the excessive curvature in the lower back. So we want to avoid that lordosis, and we can do that by putting ourselves in that position, strengthening our abdominal wall, keeping our feet up so that our lower back stays on that mat throughout the entire press. All right, guys, so now we're going to move over to our second example of an integration. As we said before, when it comes to core exercises, there are basic principles that apply to core activation that translate to every movement. And that's going to be making sure we brace or create abdominal wall tension. That's just squeezing down, making sure that everything stays tight so that we're gripping that spine and having proper support, and also that we're breathing properly. In through the nose, out through the nose, letting our diaphragm work, trying to avoid that too much belly extension. We don't want the belly pushing out. We want to make sure that we keep it tight, keep it controlled so that we can support ourselves properly. So for our next integration, we're going to start off in our push out position. So we're going to have Kayhan go ahead and lay down. Good. So we go into a dead bug position first. Good. And then he's going to go ahead and bring his hands down. Good. Feet together. I want Kayhan to go ahead and point the toes forward. Good. Plantar flexing. He's going to kick out for me. Kick out, kick out, kick out. Right there. Good. Take it back. Good. And one more. Good. Take it back. Good. And go ahead and stand up. Now from this position, again, similar principles, but this is one of those exercises, as we stated before, we want to do a tricep. Why? We want to really focus on tying in that tension. So what I'm going to have Kayhan do are a couple lunge holds. And this is just going to help activate his legs with that core tie-in. We're going to turn his glutes on so that way when he gets ready to squat, which is going to be our next exercise, he is properly set up. So Kayhan, go ahead and stand and put your left leg forward and your right leg back. Straighten. Yep, there we go. Stand straight up, 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 up. First, no, stand up. There we go. Don't go down. Just stick the leg back. Stick that leg back. Further, further. There we go. A little bit further. There we go. Good. Hands here, elbows in. Good. I want you to turn towards me. Turn, 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 turn. Good. Face me. Now go ahead and drop the back knee. Drop the back knee. Don't further, just bend this. Here we go. Bend that lower right there and hold. So I'm just going to have them hold for 10 seconds on both sides. Typically we want to do about 30 seconds to a minute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. So he's going to go to the other side. Go ahead, switch legs for me. Good. Turn. Up. Turn. Turn, 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 turn. Good. Now down. Bend the back leg. Don't worry about the front leg, just the back leg. Bend the back leg. Right there. Hold. Stay right there. Up a little bit. Up a little bit. Come up higher. Up a little bit. Right there. 5, 4. Keep the body straight. This is tight. 3, 2. Tight. 1. And up. And now we are ready for our barbell squat. So typically when you're doing this, we can always rest about 30 to 40 seconds or even a minute. That's perfectly okay. Kayhan is Superman, so don't worry about it. He might fly away with the bar, so he's ready to roll. So, a couple pointers. When we're gonna do our back barbell squat, or barbell back squat, what you wanna do is, you wanna tuck the elbows under. More, all the way under. As we tuck the elbows under, it helps pull our shoulders back, but it ties in our scapula. As our scapula comes in, now we brace this down. Boom, tight, good. So take that stance out a little bit wider. No, your stance, your legs. There we go. Keep the core tight. Brace that in as tight as you can. Good. Keep that in. Now break at the hips. Push the butt back. Go low, slow, slow. Chest forward a little bit. Forward chest. Hold. Lean forward a little bit. There we go. Good. Now come up slow. Core tight. Keep leaning, keep leaning, keep leaning. Glutes. Good. And go ahead and rack that up for me. So we went from our toe pushes on the ground. We transitioned into a lunge hold. Now, if you notice on lunge hold, we rotated, right? We got in a lunge position, and before we lunged, what did we do? We put the hands here. The reason we put them here so we can see our rotation. We don't want to be off. We saw our rotation, which was into the leg. We do this to turn on that glute. From here, it's harder to turn on our glute. When we turn into it, the femur starts to rotate into the hip. So as it does that, we have the glute more active and it's easier to draw that core in. So when we're down, the core is tight. Boom, and I'm in there. Then we do both sides, and now we can go ahead and jump in there. The glutes should be kicking in, and as our glutes kick in, it's easier for us to draw the core in, and when we go down, that back stays neutral. And everything stays good. We come up, squeeze the glutes, bring our core back in. Now we've added in another level of core activation by integrating the movement directly into one of our weightlifting movements. So for our third integrational workout, we're going to be shooting for the overhead shoulder press, the overhead barbell shoulder press. We're going to start with the bird dog. So Keihan's going to go into a quadruped position. From this position, he's going to make sure to squeeze the elbows in. Core is going to be tight. Elbows, or knees going to be under the hips. So bring that knee forward a little bit. Forward, right there. There we go. Good. So we're going to go opposite arm, opposite leg, kick out. We'll go through 2 reps and we'll jump right into it. So go ahead and kick that out. Good. Squeeze the glute. Hold. Straighten the body out. Make sure we bring the core in tighter and try to bring this arm up further. The reason why we're going further with the arm this time is because we're trying to work this into our shoulder press, which is very, very important that we do this. Good. Core's tight. Turn this down. Turn this down. There we go. And other side. Good. Glutes tight. Core. Good. Tight, tight, tight. Arm up. And bring it back. And relax. Go ahead, stand up for me. Turn the hat around. There he goes. All right. So he's gonna grip that and we're gonna set him up. All right, step back for me a little bit. There we go, good. So make sure that we squeeze the glutes. Butt tight, butt tight, butt tight, glutes tight. Core stays braced. We're gonna go ahead and press overhead and hold, hold. Bring the neck back a little bit. Head, back, 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 right there, not up. Just back, chin down, chin down. There we go. And this is just gonna make sure we're stressing in here. Tight, 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 tight. Good, and down slow. Good. And relax, go ahead and rack that up. So a lot of times people, they push in that lower back because they don't have good shoulder mobility. So they'll be here and then they push this up to bring that barbell up. And this is where we get the issue. So we wanna make sure that we focus on bringing this down while maintaining the shoulder mobility, which is why we're gonna make sure that we start off with that core movement, we transition into it, and in the core movement, we did this, brought it down, but we really focused on extending and getting full shoulder mobility, so that way it was easier to transition that to the overhead press. Okay, for our fourth core exercise integration, we're gonna be focusing on doing a barbell row. And the exercise we're gonna choose to help specify that and bring that into play is going to be our quadruped crawl. Now Keihan is going to go ahead and set up. Good. Bring the hands back a little bit. Perfect. Keep that core tight. Bring the knees forward a little bit for me. Perfect. And Keihan, you're going to start your movement. Just going to take a couple steps forward. As he's doing, everything stays tight. This stays neutral. Good. He's not taking big steps. He's taking little steps. His hips are staying in alignment. No side movement. Stay tight. 2 more. All right, and take a break. So after doing that, the good reason that we use that for the barbell row is when we have to stay tight and we flex our lats, we're turning our elbows in. As we turn our elbows in, you'll notice that my shoulder goes in capsule because I'm flexing my lat. When we do rows or anything of that nature with the back, we don't want to be overworking the shoulder like this. This causes injuries because our shoulder is pronated. So if we can start working on bringing it back, it's going to work the back more, but it's also protecting our shoulders so that we don't hurt them. That's why we did the quadruped crawl, because it forces you to be engaged as you're walking, so you're getting dynamic of movement, lat activation, so that you develop more support for the movement. So with the core, we're also protecting the shoulders with that movement. So he's going to go ahead and take that bar, go ahead and unrack that for me. Good. So step back, right there is going to be good. Feet are going to be right about there. Squeeze those glutes. Glutes in, core down, ribs down. There we go. Nope, this is tight. Good. Now keep that tight, and I want you to bend the knees a little bit and pull the hips back. Keep touching the legs. Bars on the legs, on the legs, on the legs. Yep, there we go. Right there. Perfect. If you notice, he has a perfect alignment in his back. Core stays tight. Now he's going to bring this down a little bit. There we go. Good. Now pull that bar to the belly button. Good. Elbows in. Right there. Good. And down. And go again. To the belly button. Come on. Elbows in. There we go. 2 more. Core stays tight, tight. Go again. 1 more. Core stays tight. Good. Down. And then squeeze the glutes and stand up. Good. So we want to make sure that whenever we finish this movement, even though we're getting a lot of core demand, finish by addressing with the core through the hips. A lot of times people will finish and they just want to stand up, and now you're putting your back in a bad position. So make sure when you do finish that when we're here and we finish, we squeeze the glutes up and we finish properly.
那刚才呢，我们是进行了动作的一个示范，就如何把我们训练的这些核心动作去融合到你这个正常的这个重训动作里面去，给大家去做个示范啊，方便大家去了解。但是呢，里面还有一些问题，就是那我们应该去做几组，然后需要做几次，这个不知道是跟之前一样吗？还是说不一样？还是让Jamal来帮助我们去讲解一下 ，please.
All right, so we just showed you guys 4 examples of integrations from the core exercises to some traditional weightlifting exercises to some other weightlifting exercises that we made a modification to, namely being the bench press. Whenever you're going to integrate it, it's wise, like we said, some of this stuff you need to do what we call a tri-set, and that's doing some other exercise in between. Example, when we did the barbell squat, we went from a floor exercise to a lunge hold to the squat. Other things will transition over better. Some of the core exercises will work directly and relate smoothly to the other weightlifting exercises. Like when we did the quadruped crawl, it worked directly and perfectly for the shoulder press because we were engaging that shoulder in while flexing our lats to create more support. When it comes to sets and reps, that's going to very much depend on what you're doing, what your goal is for the workout, and what your plan of implementation is. So if you're working on strength, you're trying to do heavy lifting, well, guess what? Your sets and reps might be a little bit different. If you're working on conditioning, maybe you're doing muscular endurance, you might be doing more reps. Those sets might be a little bit different. What you want to do is you want to kind of adjust your workout and the core exercises to the direct demand of whatever your workout goal is. If you're going heavy, you're probably going to do a few less reps, but you're going to have a lot more focus behind it. If you're going more reps, then hey, you might want to take your time. Do a few more so that way you can maintain the integrity of your core throughout those reps. It's about making sure that the program fits you and your needs. Our job is to give you exercises, give you modifications so that you can build yourself up. So regardless of whatever program you're on, you're going to improve. You're going to get better. You're going to look better. You're going to live better. And you're going to be better.
好，那么今天这个视频呢，到这里，下一个视频我们再见，拜拜。